And welcome back to the Hot Lap, where Lewis Hamilton looking good on a day 2 AM, because I think the PM is still currently running as we record this, but not too bad. There is a couple of caveats which we'll get into, because hey, it is F1 testing, but can you imagine rain in Bahrain? I know, I'm a poet and I didn't know it, but yes, there was rain in the desert, plus much more. So check this out from Lewis Hamilton. He is faster than this time last year, but quite significantly faster, I think. So we're only halfway through the 2025 F1 pre-season test, and already Lewis is nearly 0.6 seconds faster than Ferrari managed this time last year. Hamilton was the first driver on day 2 to break into those 1 minute 29s. Could they break into the 1 minute 28? Who knows? So last year day 2 testing, the fastest Ferrari was on a 1 minute 29.921. Hamilton's on a 1 minute 29.379. Yes, I know, a whole year of development and everything, but not looking too bad at all. He was the fastest of the lot, wasn't he? And here, this is the rundown. So Lewis Hamilton on a 129.379 doing 45 laps. Not as much as George Russell, that Mercedes machine, but George Russell just shy of 4/10 off. Carlos Sainz in the Williams not looking bad, 7/10 off. Then you got Pierre Gasly about a second off, Fernando Alonso 1.3, Tsunoda 1.4, Oscar Piastri 1.4 seconds off, Liam Lawson 1.8 seconds off, Hulkenberg 2 seconds off, and the Haas seemingly absolutely doing its own thing with race runs 3.692, and there's no way, for example, Haas is 3.692 off a Ferrari, a Ferrari lap. But still, it does show that everyone is indeed doing their own things. For example, Aston Martin were 1.4 seconds ish off yesterday overall in testing, and they're still 1.3 seconds off, yet they're 5th. I mean, it just goes to show testing, it is an absolute minefield of data, a maze of maths, let's say, but it's almost impossible to sort out unless you have every faction figure, which not even the experts have, not even the teams have when they compare it to other teams. It's a lot of guesswork. But when we're looking at the sectors, Ferrari not looking too bad, at least in comparison. So they've got the fastest Sector 1, Sector 2, but not Sector 3. So it was basically Mercedes a 10th off in Sector 2, but Williams, a 10th and a half, sorry. Williams just shy of 2/10 off. And then it was Mercedes Masterclass in Sector 3, but only just. They're off by 300ths. And the ideal lap, well, was an 89.362, with Mercedes just been 3.5 off, Williams 4/10 off. The ideal lap, Alpine 9/10 off, McLaren 1.2 seconds off. Now, once again, it's testing. No way are McLaren 1.2 seconds off that Ferrari. Aston Martin 1.3, Racing Bulls 1.3, Red Bull 1.8. Again, no way Red Bull. The reigning driver championship winning team, the former constructor champions, are 1.8 seconds off. And you got Sauber 1.9. Once again, Haas very much, there we go, 3.709 doing their own thing. So not much to worry about. I don't think there's any alarm bells whatsoever with any of the teams. But let's get into the article. So Hamilton eclipsed Ferrari's Q3 time from the 24 Bahrain Grand Prix as he completed his second half day of pre-season testing behind the wheel of the SF25. So the 7-time champion beat his former Mercedes teammate by 4/10. I say beat, I mean, let's be fair, massive inverted commas. Limited to just 3 days of running. As we know, the Formula One teams cast a wary eye on the sky because it was rain. That's the caveat we're talking about. And reporting a drop of 3 on their visors, Carlos Sainz couldn't blame the gloom as he pulled away from the end of the pit lane in a practice as Liam Lawson leaving the pits. Yeah, they nearly had a whoopsie, didn't they? So the 10 drivers laid down the laps, but Oscar Piastri setting a lap time in the opening hour. It was Hamilton who ultimately, as you know, ended up fastest overall, which is not too bad at all. So the drivers, a few laps later, it did end up spitting with rain, let's say, and that was followed shortly after Hamilton pretty much saying, Ferrari, it's wet, it's raining a bit more now, and the drivers ended up returning to their garage, but suddenly Aston Martin and Haas' decision to ask for those wet weather tyres that everyone is questioning about. Everyone is like, why on earth would you do that, Aston Martin and Haas? Well, here's why. And Haas didn't waste any time by thinking, we're going to set those intermediates off and swing the proverbial middle finger to everyone making jokes as Haas went out on the intermediates. There it is. I mean, I thought, absolutely, I thought that was quite funny. So Aston Martin, the only drivers to have wet, though, tyres available, but Alonso did not join on track. The rain and lack of running meant Hamilton finished the session, the second hours still in P1, while Piastri remained without a lap time, as I said. Interesting. Now, as the rain eased, Russell was the first to venture out before the rest of the field joined him out on track. Piastri finally made his mark, although 2.5 seconds off the pace. Russell upped his pace to edge Hamilton, only for the Ferrari driver to hit back with that 1 minute 29.675 and lowering it to the now, as we introduced you to the show, 1 minute 29.379. One driver not in the running for P1 was Lawson. He ended up falling to 6th as he was stuck in the pits. And this is it. Red Bull mechanics were working to resolve a water pressure issue. Now, with smoke coming from their garage, potentially their car yesterday, they had a loss of, and today, I'm not saying alarm bells, maybe raised eyebrows at this point, but a loss of engine water pressure, working rectifying that at the moment. There was a late drama of Hülkenberg and Piastri as they got a little too close for comfort, but Hamilton obviously finishing the session fastest. Red Bull, yes, I don't think they'd be too concerned. To be fair, I'm actually more concerned about McLaren because at the time of recording, it's 2:21. Even Lando Norris has not done too many laps, and Oscar Piastri didn't really set too many times. And this is Angela Cullen back, as you know, in Ferrari, getting. I'm assuming there's sandwiches there, etc., or something there, something tasty for Lewis during his lunch break. And this is Lewis Hamilton's safety page. All the photos there. There's the Ferrari. It's looking good, isn't it? Now, one thing I would like to talk about though is Hamilton's come out obviously in Time magazine, said quite a few interesting things. He said, "Don't ever compare me to anybody else. I'm the first and only black driver that's ever been seen in this sport." Absolutely, he is. I'm built different. He said, "I've been through a lot. I've had my journey. You can't compare me to another 40-year-old past or present Formula One driver because they are nothing like me." Okay, that's all. I'm undecided whether that's almost arrogance or matter-of-factly, and I don't know. What do you guys think? He also went on saying, "I'm hungry, driven, don't have a wife and kids. I'm focused on one thing, and that's winning." Now, the cynical part of me thought, is he throwing a bit of throwing something at Max Verstappen? Bear in mind, he's got a baby incoming, and I know he's driven, but I don't think having a wife and kids means you're any less driven than anyone else. You're just going about it a different way. So is he saying, "I'm hungry, driven, therefore I'm better than everyone else because I don't have a wife and kids"? I don't think so. Obviously, I trust Autosport that these weren't completely taken out of context. I do not have the access to I've not read the full Time magazine interview, and maybe we will. Don't ever compare me to anybody else. I mean, yeah, fair enough. You can't compare Hamilton, just like you can't compare Verstappen to anyone else that everyone does, like Verstappen and Senna, Hamilton and Senna, for example. No, I completely agree. You don't do that. But I still think that interesting quotes. And yes, I absolutely believe he's been through a lot, but so have many other 40-year-olds that aren't Formula One drivers. And I don't know, it's very strong statements, at least, coming out of Lewis Hamilton during that Time magazine. Maybe we'll have a chat about the whole thing. But anyway, the morning session, Lewis Hamilton fastest, with the caveat there was rain, which stopped. But then again, it was in the second half of that session that Lewis Hamilton did his quite impressive time, which I think may have raised a couple of eyebrows, although it's still only day 2 and we're halfway through. If you've made it to the end though, that is absolutely amazing. Please give us a subscribe. That would be fantastic. If you're already subscribed, just clicking it, watching it and make it to the end is more than enough. But if you want to do that bit more, hit that like button or comment below. Let us know either on testing or what, or even on Lewis Hamilton's bizarre. I'm not saying bizarre, but strong. Let's go with strong, because I like the guy. I want him to win an 8th world title. That would be amazing in a Ferrari. I mean, that would be amazing, wouldn't it? But strong comments from Lewis Hamilton. Anyways, speak to you soon. Thank you for watching, and above all else, stay safe. And it helps if I press the right. Yeah, I press subscribe again. Sorry. There we go. There it is.